Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might just change how you handle relationships forever. When a man distances himself from you, when he suddenly goes quiet, starts ignoring you, stops calling like he used to, texting becomes rare, and you're left confused, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't beg and please. Don't lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who's clearly letting go. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man pulls away from you, it doesn't always mean something is broken or that you've done something wrong. Sometimes it's a test, not the kind you study for, not the kind you prepare for with notes and books. It's a test of your inner strength, your self-worth, your emotional maturity, and how much power you're willing to hand over to someone else. Because let's face it, relationships aren't just about love and chemistry. They're about balance. They're about understanding where you stand and how much of yourself you're willing to compromise just to keep someone else close. And sometimes when a man pulls away, he's not just trying to figure himself out. He's unconsciously watching how you respond. That moment when he becomes distant, when the calls slow down, when the messages stop coming in, when the energy changes, that's the moment you are being watched, even if he never admits it. He's testing to see if your confidence is real or if it fades the second he steps back. And here's what separates the women who keep their power from the women who lose themselves. Response. Do you chase? Do you panic? Do you start questioning your worth just because he pulled away? Or do you hold your ground, stay centered, and remind yourself that your value doesn't decrease because someone else is confused? You see, there's a quiet strength in not reacting emotionally. There's power in choosing silence instead of chaos. When a man distances himself, it might hurt. It might leave you wondering, doubting, replaying every conversation to figure out what went wrong. But you need to understand that this moment is an invitation to step into your power. This is when you show what you're really made of, not by proving yourself to him, but by proving to yourself that you will not be broken just because someone else isn't consistent. And here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Most men don't even know they're testing you. It's not always intentional. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's their own emotional immaturity. But what they are watching is whether your confidence is something you wear only when you're being adored or something that lives inside you no matter what. A man who pulls away might think he's taking time to figure himself out, but he's also learning how strong you are. When he's not clapping for you, when he's not available, when he's no longer front and center, when you stay still, when you don't beg, when you don't plead, you're telling him something loud and clear. You're saying, I want you here, but I don't need you to breathe. That's power. That's grace. That's knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. It shows you don't measure your worth based on how someone else treats you. Because someone pulling away should never shake your foundation. If it does, you weren't rooted in confidence. You were surviving off attention. Let him pull away. Let him have his space. But don't let that space turn into self-doubt for you. Don't internalize his absence as your failure. It's not. It's a mirror being held up to show you how much you love yourself, how you handle uncertainty, and how much value you place on peace over chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, if you crumble every time someone steps back, then they hold the pen to your story. But when you stay strong, calm, and centered, you take that pen back. You become the author again. And believe me, there is nothing more attractive, more powerful, and more unforgettable than a woman who knows her worth, even in silence. Because when a man distances himself, he's not always looking for space. Sometimes he's unconsciously asking, how much of yourself are you willing to lose just to keep me around? And your answer should be simple, none of it. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every woman's life when she has to choose between chasing someone who's pulling away or standing still and letting silence do the talking. And I want you to understand something that will save you from so much pain. Don't chase him. Don't chase any man who begins to ignore you, withdraw from you, or act like you no longer matter. Because the moment you chase, you give him all the power. The moment you try to force connection where there's only distance, you put your value in his hands. And that is not where it belongs. When a man starts pulling away, when the messages turn cold, when the attention starts fading, the urge to reach out, to fix it, to explain yourself, to ask what's wrong, it feels natural. But natural doesn't always mean right, because what you're really doing in that moment is betraying your own inner voice. The part of you that knows something's off, the part of you that senses that if someone wants you in their life, you shouldn't have to beg for a space in it. That's where silence comes in. That's where real strength lives. Your silence isn't weakness. Your silence is power. Your silence is a boundary that says, I am not going to participate in being ignored. It's your way of saying, if you want to walk away, I'm not going to stop you, but I'm also not going to follow you. See, ladies and gentlemen, when you chase someone who's drifting away, you're confirming that their distance controls you. You're showing them that they can retreat and you'll come running. That's not love. That's imbalance. Men notice silence more than they notice tears. They hear it loud because they expect reaction. They expect you to blow up their phone, to over-explain, to fight for the connection. But when they get nothing, no call, no text, no desperation, that's when they stop and think. That's when they realize they're not in control of the situation. That's when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. And this is not about playing games. This is about dignity. This is about honoring your own heart. If he can ignore you and you keep chasing, what are you really telling him? You're saying, it's okay to treat me like I'm not important. I'll still be here. But when you stay silent, when you don't fight to keep someone who's not fighting for you, that silence says, I love myself too much to beg for attention. And that message is powerful. When a man feels your silence, when he doesn't hear from you, when he feels your energy shift, he starts to question. He starts to remember your presence. He starts to feel the difference between your warmth and your distance. And if he truly cared, if he truly valued you, that silence will make him uncomfortable enough to act. But if he stays gone, if your silence is met with more silence, then you got your answer and you didn't even have to say a word. Ladies and gentlemen, silence is a filter. It shows you who's willing to close the gap and who's willing to live with the distance. It teaches people how to treat you. And the more you use your silence wisely, the more you protect your peace, the more you teach the world that you don't fight for crumbs. You wait for the whole table or you walk away. So when a man starts acting like he doesn't care, don't convince him to care. Don't start proving your worth. Don't lose sleep wondering what you did wrong. Instead, pull back, hold your energy, breathe, and let your silence speak, because a woman who chooses silence over begging is a woman who has already won. And trust me, that's the kind of woman a man never forgets. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you one thing that will change the way you view yourself in any relationship. A man will only respect you to the level that you respect yourself. And one of the fastest ways to lose that respect is by begging for attention from someone who's already showing you he's not willing to give it. A woman who knows her worth doesn't chase. She doesn't plead. She doesn't try to earn the love of someone who's making her question her value. She stands tall even in silence because she knows that her dignity is worth more than someone's inconsistent affection. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who doesn't break down just because a man pulls away. It's easy to stay calm when someone's loving you, giving you attention, showing up for you. But the real test of self-respect comes when things get quiet, when the calls stop.